Hello! In today's video I'm going to show you how to put together this Cricut Dragon pop-up card. You can find this in Cricut Design space, and I will also have it under my shared projects as well. And it's actually not as complicated as it looks to put together. It's a bit fiddly in places, but I'm going to walk you through it step by step, and we're going to have a great card at the end of it. So let's gather everything together we need and begin. Once you've cut everything, this is what you should have. You will have used the two different coloured pens, black and a blue, and cut everything out and added your score lines as well. The machine does everything for you. Design Space will tell you what to do. If you do have any cut out pieces, you can always reuse them. Like this one, we're actually going to reuse that at the end. So stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you what to do with that. First up, you're going to get your favourite glue. This is mine. It's the mixed media from Recollections, and I put it into a little bottle for easier use. And the first thing we need to do is to glue the flames on to the blue flame on the front of the dragon. Repeat this on the other side too, so that the flame appears on both sides of the dragon's face there. The wings are up next, so we have the yellow pieces here and the two parts of the body. There's actually pen on one side of each of these, so it's the side with the pen markings on it and the little circles on there, the details, that you're going to add the yellow parts of the wings to. Just a little bit of glue, and sometimes it helps to use a tool to put things into place properly. I also find that actually having a video to watch when putting these together is so much easier than reading the instructions, because Cricut does have the instructions for their cards, but sometimes it can become a little confusing with the descriptions and the photographs, and just watching someone actually put a card together I find is so much easier for me to do, which is why I make these videos, and hopefully it helps you make something as well. The two big pieces here are the center of the dragon, so we're going to put the whole thing together now. Slide one in on top of the other. Then there are the body parts. The biggest one being the closest to the dragon's center out the front. The second largest in front of that one, and then the smallest at the back. Again, I did say it can be a little fiddly. It's not overly complicated, just a little fiddly to slot everything into place. Now the smallest piece here does go at the back, and it has a tab on it, and you fold along the score line. Now when I'm putting this together, it just says in the instructions to slot all the body parts together, the front bits and the back bits. It doesn't really say which is which, and it doesn't say anything about which side the tab should be on. Once I put this together, the first time I did this, I realized the tab needs to be on the left side of the dragon, not the right. Well, I guess the right if you're looking at it, but currently it's on the wrong side, and I do have to switch it out so that it's on the right side, which makes sense when we put the pop-up together. Otherwise the mechanism won't move and the dragon won't fold flat. The legs are the next part, and you just slide them up onto the sides. This is only tricky because you're sliding them on and there's nothing to hold them in place. So if you slide them on and then dangle the dragon in the air, the legs are going to fall off. So if you actually lay it down flat and slide them in like I'm doing here, it's the easiest way to get those legs on. And you can see exactly which slits are supposed to go into where. And then we flip it round and do the same on the other side. So with the legs, you can actually see there is ink details with the pen on one side. That's the outside of the legs. The inside, obviously, the part that doesn't have any details on it, and one leg on each side. Once you slide those in, it should stand up. Now, one of the feet has a tab on it as well, and this should be the opposite side to the back body tab that we just added. This is what it looks like so far. It's a little bit wobbly and unstable because we haven't got the side pieces on yet, so we're going to add those now. And it's pretty obvious which side they go because there is ink drawing and details on the outside so that you can see it. And there are 4 slits that it goes into, and then they slide straight down. For this project I've used 65 pound cardstock. I find it's a really good cardstock for most projects because it's not too flimsy but it's not too thick. It's a really nice quality. It's the Recollections cardstock. So you can see the slits clearly here. There's 4, and it's going to go into the 4 slits on the base. And that's actually going to connect that back piece a lot better as well and make it a bit more sturdy. Recollections cardstock I absolutely love. I do use £100 cardstock for some projects, mainly in the base of pop-up cards if I feel they need it. If it's a particularly flimsy design or there's a lot of extra weight in the pop-up design, you will need something a bit sturdier for the base, especially if people are going to be opening and closing the card a lot. It's good to have something a little stronger holding it all into place. This one worked perfectly fine though with the £65. This is the hat. There are 3 parts to this. 2 have slits in the top and 1 has a slit in the bottom. And this is because you're going to glue the 2 of the slits in the top together. It just says in the instructions to attach them to the dragon, so you really can attach them any way you like. This is the way I found works really well with the whole pop-up design. Now, also make sure that you don't glue the very bottom of this hat completely together, because it does need to separate a tiny bit to attach to the head of the dragon. Add a little bit of glue to the top on either side, and then you'll be able to attach the hat, and then it's not going to move at all. It's not going to fly off randomly when you open the card. Once that's in place, it should look like this, and you take the 3rd piece and just slide it in on the top with the pen marks facing the front, and that completes the hat. Now that piece shouldn't move either. You can glue it in if you want to, but it really shouldn't move. And once it's all together, you should be able to see how the mechanism works. This is the cake. So the dragon is holding a cake. There are score lines along here. Fold along each score line, and there is a tab at the end as well. A little bit of glue on the tab, and then we'll close it up to connect the edges on the outside of the cake. It's a square cake. Pretty sure a round cake wouldn't fold flat in a pop-up card. And then the 2 pieces that go in the center here, one has a slit in it and the other doesn't, so put the piece that doesn't in first, and then the piece with the slit goes on the top, and that's what it looks like when it's finished. To attach this to the dragon's hands, it's very easy. There's a couple of little tabs coming vertically up from his hands. Tiny bit of glue on those, and the cake will be attached. If you do want to make some other pop-up card designs, Cricut has a lot of fun ideas, and I've made a few of the videos on those as well on how to put them together. Here is the backdrop for the party scene for this card. It's actually quite simple. You fold it in half, there's a score line down the middle, and then there are 2 tabs, and there are score lines on those tabs. Now, first and foremost, I fold this completely the wrong way, but it doesn't really matter because it's just a couple of score lines. Fold it back the other way and you should be fine. This is the main base of the card. It has a score line down the center and a cutout dragon on the front. Fold it in half. You can use a bone folder, your fingers, or I actually used my Cricut scraper tool to define that line. Now the center pieces here have slits in them, and that's what the backdrop is going to go into. If you have them around the wrong way, the backdrop will fold the wrong way. I think it will probably work either way, but this is the way around it's supposed to be. The slits going down at angles away from the center, and all the party piece cutouts are supposed to be on the corners of the card there as well. So make sure you have it the right way round before you get to sticking anything down. Or like me, you realize in this moment that you need to put the yellow backdrop in before you actually stick the white inserts down to the card as well. I nearly forgot, but not quite. If you don't put the slits in and you've already glued the white down, it's going to be a lot trickier because you need to put those yellow pieces in first. Thankfully, I remembered just in time. When you glue the front one on, it's important to make sure you put the tab folded the right way. The wrong way, and you'll see it through the dragon here. If you fold it the other way, you shouldn't be able to see it at all. Now you can add your own coloured piece of cardstock or sparkly cardstock behind that dragon if you wanted to. I did do that on one of my other cards, I believe, to add a bit of colour to the front. But if you just glue the tab down in the right spot, you shouldn't have any issues. Do pay attention to where you're putting the glue. Again, if you put glue all over this piece of cardstock, you will see it through the front of the dragon and it will make your card messy and untidy. The safest thing to do is to add glue around the dragon and all the tiny parts. Using this precision glue tip is the easiest way to do that, because less is more when it comes to glue. It just ends up looking untidy if there's too much glue on there. So add it around the edges there, and that should stick the whole thing down without me getting confused and putting glue on the middle of the white piece. Fold it over to close, and it should be in the right spot when you open it. I always find it's easier to do it this way and then to glue everything down flat. You're not 100% sure everything's going to sit in the right spot, and you want to make sure with pop-up cards that it's all going to fold flat as well. If it doesn't, it's not going to work. This piece is actually really important. It is going to connect the pop-up to the card. So rather than tuck the slits of the dragon inside those back pieces like the backdrop, we're going to attach them to the centerpiece here. This is similar to the snowflake card. If you haven't checked out my snowflake pop-up card, do. It's really fun. It's also in the Cricut Design space, and it's a beautiful card when you make it, and it works on the same principle as this, but it's just tucked inside the base. You can take it out and actually hang it and use it as an ornament on your Christmas tree as well. So 2 in 1, a card and an ornament. Speaking of ornaments, I am going to be doing a Christmas in July video very soon, so keep an eye out for that one. It's a special one. It's actually a clear ornament filled with sawdust, and on the front it says "Sawdust is man glitter." It's a popular one when I sell them at craft fairs, and I have had a request to do a video on how to put it together, so that will be happening really soon as well. And Christmas in July, so why not? Glue both those tabs down underneath the base, making sure they are secure, and then check that it actually folds in half as you want it to. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. The tail can get stuck when you put the dragon inside the card. It can get caught on things. So I tend to put the dragon right at the bottom of the card, glue one side down, and then add glue and then fold the card closed, because that way I know it's going to function a lot better. So make sure it's all completely flat and put that half circle right in the bottom, right in the fold of that card. Then you know it's all going to sit flat, it's not going to stick out the side, and it should work as a pop-up. Add glue to the other side of the circle now. Keeping that dragon and everything flat is just going to make sure that it all stays where it's supposed to be. This is easier with glue than with tape, because on a pop-up card, if you do need to slightly adjust things, you can with the glue. If you've used like a strong tape, it's really, really hard to move it around afterwards if you need to. Before I show you the completed card, this is a really quick visual of the envelope. Very, very easy. It's a one-piece cut. I used coloured paper. It's thin enough that you can send it in the mail. The pattern can be on the inside so that you can write an envelope address on it very, very easily. I use the scoring tool so I know where to put my tape and my glue to put the envelope together. And I can add double-sided tape here, like if somebody had ordered a card for someone else, they can write in it and they can seal it themselves after the fact using the double-sided tape. Now remember when I said to put this cheeky dragon to one side, this is the inside of your cutout. So technically it's a scrap piece, but we're going to add it to the front of the envelope just to add a little something. Because it's a custom envelope, it doesn't have to be boring. Tiny bit of glue on the back, and that's going to add a little something special to the front. Thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed the video and it helped you create this birthday pop-up card. I really like this one, it's super fun. We've got lots more coming for you, so please do stick around, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you very soon.